Muerte, Santa Muerte, or the Saint of Death. It is now openly worshipped in every state of Mexico, and even Time magazine now reports it is the most popular god or saint in Mexico after Jesus and Mary. It is the number 3 most popular god. It is the Grim Reaper. They have the female version of it, La Flaca, and El Flaco is the male. Sinaloa worships the male. It is just total bedlam, just giggling love of death. And now Mexican drug cartels would never kill children. Now they blow little children's heads off with enjoyment. Every day or two, I hear about them killing police chiefs, burning down casinos, hotels, chopping everybody's heads off. And if you talk about it, they will have foundation-controlled groups like Mecha La Raza and others come out and say, none of this is happening, it's a hoax. And then Fox News Corps, Rupert Murdoch puts out a movie where it's the Minutemen killing everybody. Minutemen have killed no one. In fact, I've been talking to Hispanic Americans down there about how the Minutemen have tried to come down and help, and wealthy groups have tried to send in paramilitary people offering to help, but the locals are afraid and have been told you'll be killed and your children will if you fight back. And I've talked to gringos down here. I've talked to, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, and they're scared. I've talked to black people. They're scared. I've talked to Hispanics. They're scared. I have been mobbed by Hispanic listeners down here who are Hispanic Americans and also Mexican nationals. There's a lot of wealthy Mexicans here. In fact, a lot of them, look like people from Spain. A lot of beautiful senoritas. And they'll come run up. Alex Jones, how are you still alive? Yes, we listen. We know you know what you're talking about. They're worshiping the skinny one. This is death. It's sacrifice. It is a genocide. It's more than 40,000. And then I start talking to cops who are scared. I start talking to all these people about the helicopter attacks, the murders, the kidnapping, the people being killed here. And they've told all the local TV and print newspapers, and I've got some of them here in my hand. Hold on. They've told the Valley Morning Star, they've told the Brownsville Herald, here are the newspapers right here. They've told these guys, you keep your mouth shut. Here's another one. They've told the TV stations, when there's killings, when there's kidnappings, when there's murders, this is how it started in Mexico. And the cops are just out there writing tickets on citizens, getting their little bit of money, and just cowering. This is how America operates now. And they got the Coast Guard and the game wardens out harassing everybody if they catch too many sand trout or whatever. And you got the cartels, you got the CIA, you got Los Zetas, openly trained by the U.S. military at Fort Bragg and Fort Benning, Georgia, all on record. And it's all part of a plan to consolidate, to have a huge drug war in Mexico that's bigger than the Vietnam War per year, just a real bona fide war. 40+ thousand dead in 3 years on the Mexican side, 5,000 on this side, and that's just what we know of, and no one will talk about it. I've had people come to me and say, you've got to talk about it, sir. I've been walking down the street going into a restaurant, and up pulls a brand new Mercedes with some, obviously wealthy Mexican in it going, Alex Jones, we listen to you. I can't believe you're still alive. What are you doing down here? Have you noticed there's not many people down here? Normally there is this time of year. It's all coming here, the skinny one. It is on. The people are scared to death looking over their shoulders in America, in Brownsville, in South Padre, in Laredo, in El Paso. And then you've got the police looking over their shoulder out there just revenue generating. And then I see Associated Press, Reuters, Fox News telling the public what I told you years ago. The drug cartels are now as far north as Illinois. They're also in Canada. And the Mexican drug cartels are even more vicious than the Russians because it's a culture of death. The veneer of civilization, the thin covering of civilization is incredibly thin. Just like it was in Europe. They'd have 100-year wars. They'd have half the population die for thousands of years, just eternal warfare. And once you give into this dark impulse, once you give into the culture of death, once you give into not caring about dying anymore for money, so you're supposed to not care about dying for freedom and for standing up for liberty. And then that pushes back the darkness. That pushes back the Grim Reaper. Instead, you have a culture where it's worshipped, totally turning themselves over to the Diablo. El Diablo, ladies and gentlemen, is strong. And it's spreading all over the United States. And it's so sad and it's so sick. And the culture has all primed. And you see the stickers all over cars in Austin with the skinny one, and people crazed and wanting to die, wanting to show their manhood, destroying our culture, destroying children and the family's future. It is abhorrent. It is blasphemy against humanity. And it's all been done because of the drug war. And the global social engineers rule the planet because they're masters. They're playing the big drug cartels off against each other while the CIA funds both sides, while the DEA, FBI, Border Patrol, all of them, 8 agencies, ship the guns in, they ship the cocaine in, they have military bases and Homeland Security ICE bases. They send out the Homeland Security boats to pick up the cocaine right out there, and they bring it in back and forth all day, right in front of everybody. Right there in South Padre, just boom, boom, back and forth, just drug shipment. Boats sitting out there, big barges just sitting out there with Homeland Security going back and forth. It's all funny to them. And Homeland Security roars by their big ships right by little fishing boats and bugs their eyes out at the citizens and splashes waves on them. But then I've been out on a charter. Whenever you see Homeland Security, and I've been fishing a lot in my life. Before, people didn't act like this. And I've now seen this even in Port Aransas, far away from the border. You know, before, whenever they see now a Coast Guard or a Homeland Security or ICE boat, you stop your engine and you cower and wave at them, and they drive by with their chest sticking out, just like it's Mexico, and just look at you like, eating trash. I mean, you tip your hat, you stop your boat. And I'm like, that Homeland Security boat's 300, 400 yards away. Why are you stopping? They're like, well, you've got to do it or they'll board you and get in your face. And I talked to other locals around here, and they're like, yeah, no, they come in and out, back and forth with the drugs. They're landing them out here at these air bases. They've got the airport attached to the... It's all you idiots that use drugs that are allowing this to happen, and you idiots that support drug prohibition. If somebody's going to use drugs, they're going to do it. You got to decriminalize now to save our society. But they've grown these gangs up so big, they're now expanding out into... kidnapping and extortion, and every other form of evil is now happening. And they're not just going into Hispanic shops now and doing it thinking Hispanics will go along with it, like the Asian triads only feed on Asians. No, now they're going in everywhere and doing it. And the cops won't help you because they're on the payroll. They'll only bust little bitty gangbangers and fill them into the prisons where they have higher level drug dealers who then train them to join their armies. All part of the systematic takeover plan by the social engineers. And now as all this implodes, they're going to call for a total North American union and U.S. forces to go into Mexico and secure it. And now Rick Perry's proposing it. We played that clip 2 weeks ago. It's all part of the North American problem, reaction, solution plan with our own totally criminal government caught shipping the cocaine in and the guns out directly to the cartels, double-crossing each other. Think about it. Think about how the Mexican military dug slugs out of their dead people and shipped it back, knowing how to trace it to certain guns that have been sold because they were part of it. It's all part of a giant double-crossing operation meant to destroy Mexico and have huge refugee floods come in, which then further bankrupt the United States. If we would have made everybody stay down in Mexico, that's another thing. The people were going to have a revolution 6, 7 years ago in Mexico and throw out the globalists and J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs dictatorship. So when the actuaries, the globalists said, we'll start a drug war, let them all kill each other that way, then they'll be happy to be slaves. The globalists know what they're doing. They know how to manipulate. And then meanwhile, this drug-dealing, murdering, globalist banker government that's hijacked the U.S. and Mexico openly has dog training now to stick their hands down your pants, microwave oven you, make you answer questions now at the airports. Where you coming? Where you going? You're not a terrorist, are you? To train you to be a prisoner. Totally breaking your will. And see, there's no end to these criminals because the criminals that run America and run the big banks and run Mexico, they're only going to get replaced with worse people and worse people. I mean, 30 years ago, they would grab people that went over into Matamoros from South Padre, gringos, and torture them to death in human sacrifices. Texas Monthly articles about it, you name it, but it's always kept real quiet. And why is that? Why are all these people devil worshipers? Because when you get a corrupt society, the most evil are going to rise to the top. And whether you believe in God or not, people that are into evil always worship Diablo. Okay, they always worship the devil, El Diablo. They're always into that. And my God, we are in so much trouble as a society and a nation of cowards. America has turned into land of the cowards, home of the slaves. We've got to find our fight again. We've got to stop being cowards or our future is over. Now, I'm going to tell you again, here's the breaking news. And we've got a guest coming on. Again, so much of what this guest is insider. He's got insiders inside the military bases, inside the other bases. Everything he said, confirmed. And I know he isn't somebody they put on me because I've been going around talking to people all over. This was somebody separately where I randomly went in who was already there. I'm just going to leave it at that. He's coming up in about 10, 15 minutes. They are now kidnapping and killing people here in the U.S. They're now conscripting Americans. Not just here in South Texas, but all over the U.S. They're going to Hispanics mainly. And they're saying, are you La Raza? Basically down with the U.S. because they know that's a popular thing with young people because it seems sexy and cool. So the first thing is anti-America, bring down America. This is all being run by the big mega banks who want to bring down Mexico and the U.S. See how we're going to go to break and come back and break this down more. This is the key to all of it on the other side, Infowars.com.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
The United States government's been taken over by ruthless mega banks that made their original money off of a worldwide monopoly on opium coming out of India, Afghanistan, and with the French out of Indochina, what's Vietnam today. This is all mainline history. The Chinese didn't like opium and what it did to their population, and they said, you basically make our people slaves bringing this in. It's banned. Well, yeah, opium's bad, but it's worse to ban it because then over the course of about 200 years, the British were able to take over town after town, slowly corrupting the police and getting everybody basically addicted. And then the only economy left was the opium. Then China fell and was broken in 11 parts. The U.S. had a part, the French, the Dutch, the British, the Germans, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. They all had their own parts. And this is all part of history. Look up the Opium Wars. Look up the Boxer Rebellion when the Chinese tried to fight this off. This is how it's done. That's why still today in China, well, there's three ways to do it. You either totally legalize it, or at least decriminalize, or you have it illegal, and then that's the worst way, because then if it's just mildly illegal, it makes it worse because there's money in it. Or you execute people like Singapore or China. Then you don't have any use because they catch you one time, dead. So there's really three ways to do it. You either death penalty immediately for any illegal drug use, just boom, you're dead. And any sovereign country that wants to say sovereign pretty much has to do that. There's a reason, death penalty. Death penalty. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying death penalty or total legalization. You try to just, we're going to make it illegal. That only keeps the price up. You know, we're going to put you in jail where you learn how to be a bigger drug dealer. Spat on the wrist. So they're making it all sexy. You see the Hispanic kids everywhere wearing the Grim Reaper. They think it's cool. Grim Reaper stickers on the cars, the music, the rap, the Tejano, the rock. It's all, the skinny's going to get you. Yeah, it's fun. The drug cartels come in. They give the kids the drugs. They get them addicted. They start selling it. And they start telling them, kill somebody. Go kill this person to prove it. And so the police all over the U.S. just stand down. They just say, okay, well, the government's bringing this stuff in. We'll just let them do it. But that isn't going to stop it either. They're going to start killing each other in greater numbers. And here's the news flash. All the killing and the major war-level casualties going on and the kidnapping, death, and murder, you've already seen a 500%, you can pull this up on Google, increase in the Southwest in kidnappings in the last decade. The capital of kidnappings in the United States is now Phoenix, Arizona. And it's not a big news item. The media knows to keep their mouth shut. They kidnap your kid or kidnap you, it's not going to be a news item. I mean, everybody knows you go into northern Mexico for decades, the police will just, in your own car, take your car and shake you down. Now that doesn't happen. People just say, I'm not a cop anymore. I'm an enforcer for one of the drug cartels. And now they're going house to house, especially on the Texas border, on both sides, and saying, which side are you on? We're putting you down on the list. They actually come to your door. A lot of times, Mexican military comes to your door, even 6-7 miles in. They come to your farmhouse. And they're not. And before it was just Hispanics they did it to, because they thought, well, they'll roll over. They're used to this. Now, because even though they're on this side of the U.S., it's a Mexico culture. Now they're coming to gringos' door. And in the past, they didn't do that because you had the old Western idea shooting somebody did that. Now they're going ahead and come to the door and knocking, and they go ahead and wear a military uniform. And gringos just roll over as well. They've been well trained to be slaves. So land of the coward, home of the slave, land of the grim reaper, which is what Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove. Who do you think they worship at Skull and Bones? You've seen The Good Shepherd, made by Robert De Niro with Matt Damon, that got hailed as being so accurate. A grim reaper with a gold crown on. You actually go look up the skinny one in most of the depictions. It's wearing a gold crown. Skull and Bones worships a grim reaper, skull mask, black hood with a gold crown. What do they worship in Mexico? A grim reaper with a gold crown. That's Satan, ladies and gentlemen. They are Satan worshipers at Bohemian Grove. There's a reason in the old days people didn't put up with this. Because when you put up with people, start worshiping and start doing this, your society literally goes to hell. And if you're a sociologist or anthropologist, you don't believe in God, the devil, fine. That's your issue. The point is they believe in the devil. They believe in it. They believe in a grim reaper with a crown that's coming to kill you and your family. And they're down here, and I see Americans literally shaking in fear. Everywhere. You ask people you're fishing with. You ask people at gas stations. You come up and ask cops, and they look at you and say, I'm not talking to you. And are totally freaked out. Fear in Americans' eyes. Because right on the bridge between the U.S. and Mexico just 2 weeks ago, they hung those reporters. And buried in the article that admitted it was the head editor, the editor that's over operations, the general manager, hung them, major newspaper editor, and killed some other people, hung them off the bridge. And it wasn't even an issue. That's intimidation. You know, when the, quote, Muslims did that in Fallujah, they had to wipe out the whole town or give in to intimidation. Here, we just give in. We bend over. We need your support now more than ever. We are all in. In fact, I wrote some notes this morning I wanted to point out. I am all in, risking it all, spreading the word. Don't live in fear. Don't let the globalists take over your life. It's really just that simple. And all over the U.S., the big three cartels and the stragglers are openly globalist financed to bring North America into a crisis, to then have U.S. forces occupy and take over Mexico in the name of saving it in the end and openly merging the countries. That's the North American Union plan. They plan to destroy U.S. sovereignty using Mexico and Mexican sovereignty using the U.S. The globalists play groups against each other. Again, it's come out in federal court that the CIA, the FBI, the DEA, ATF, Border Patrol, they're all in the Fast and Furious. It's the tip of the iceberg. In those Sinaloa documents and others, financing all sides with guns, all sides with weapons, all sides are allowed to ship it in through certain conduits. The globalists don't want to then bring in the one group later. This is how the globalist social engineers are operating, and we need your support now more than ever. If you're not a PrisonPlanet.tv member, today is the day to become a member. Normally, we do the Money Bomb. Our 4th annual is coming up, and I promote it for months. I'm doing it November 3rd. I haven't promoted it any. I've been so busy. We've come to need that money. Now, that turns out to be about 20% or more of our operating capital during a year to be able to hire and continue. I don't want to just stay where we're at. But we need to even grow to survive, and we need to reach more people. We're all in, so get ready for the November 3rd Money Bomb. We'll broadcast 24 hours again. But it's a donation when you buy books, T-shirts, Don't Tread on Me flags, and it also helps get the word out and helps you meet like-minded people. So again, PrisonPlanet.tv if you're not a member, or InfoWarsNews.com. You can also sign up there. And the online video bookstore at Infowars.com, or call toll-free to order the books, videos, and more. 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139.